Hello, welcome to today's first episode of Down to the Bone. Today we're going to speak to Victoria Slinn, who is a dog breeder who really does look after her dogs health-wise through their feeding, breeding, and who she selects for rehoming and then support she gives afterwards.
Good morning. How are you then?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for coming to my little space
That's
and
beautiful.
starring in our first podcast.
Oh,
It's
thank you for
exciting
having me.
times for us.
Yeah.
So the reason I thought you'd be perfect to have a little chat to is because obviously you're an owner of horses and you're an owner of dogs. But before we talk about that, is that your everyday thing that you do? Just tell us a little bit about yourself so people get to...
Yeah, I would love it to be my everyday thing. I would love to spend the whole day playing with puppies, dogs and horses, but unfortunately, no, it's not. By day, I'm an estate agent. I've just launched my own estate agency company called Heart and Home East Sussex. And that was launched on the 1st of October. It's all very new, but had years and years of experience before that. So yes, no, the dogs and horses are very much our hobby, but obviously could be full time as well. The amount of hours.
So how many dogs do you have at the moment?
So we've got 4 dogs at the moment. We have 2 Shih Tzu cross poodles, Bonnie and Max. So Bonnie is coming up to 10, and we've got Max who's 7, who's her son, and we have 2 Dachshunds, Rosie and Connie.
So why those breeds? What made you choose those breeds?
The Shih Tzu poodles was initially because of the lack of hair shedding and hypoallergenic. At the time we decided to get a dog, I was suffering with eczema quite a lot.
Okay.
And I'd seen a couple of the crossbreeds with the poodles, and I'd been okay with them, and it'd been okay. So we got Bonnie, absolutely fine. But as the years have progressed, it seems to have disappeared.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
maybe sometimes exposure. Same with dogs if they have allergies.
Yeah.
If you expose them to it, they become slightly immune.
Yeah, so I've been okay, and then was it 2-3 years ago? Yeah, we got our first Dachshund.
So tell me why you chose a Dachshund. Because they've become very popular.
They have been very popular.
So why have they become popular?
I think that's someone that's very clever in marketing.
Do you?
Yeah, someone somewhere out there has decided that Dachshunds were going to be popular. They did all the home bits and pieces for them, didn't they? I don't know if you remember, a few years ago it was flamingos.
Yeah.
Flamingos suddenly became popular. Not saying this is why I bought a Dachshund.
Yeah. You could breed flamingos.
I'm not sure my house is quite set up for it. I'd liked them for a long time, and I'd known for quite a few people that had them. Not so much the minis, more the standards.
Yeah.
Which are generally like a Labrador with short legs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd come across a couple of miniatures, and they have just got the best personality. They are a lot of themselves. They are stubborn, but they are great family pets, and they're really good fun.
So when you say they're great family pets, would you say they're good then for children? I mean, are they good with children? Are they good with adults as well?
I think they're good with children, but it depends on their upbringing.
Yeah.
To train a Dachshund, it's renowned to be quite tricky, and you do have to persist, and you do need to put the time in.
Yeah.
Whenever we are looking at potential homes, I'm always very conscious of young children, because I think you need to children have to respect that they're an animal at the end of the day, and even though they're small, they can be nippy if they're not treated correctly, as with any dog, not just Dachshunds.
Yeah, they've obviously got to be handled. You've got to teach children with any dog to handle a dog properly. But and that is the biggest thing. You hear a lot of this about children getting dog bites and stuff, and it's because they actually don't know how to handle them properly, or have been left unsupervised.
Yeah.
Which is not great sometimes either.
No,
and so you have to be so careful of that. So yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the fact, because obviously they're renowned for having their long spines, their little legs, and some of the health with good breeding. I know these health things don't always happen, but in the past, there's been lots and lots of stories about Dachshunds in the backs and things. So with children, is that a consideration? Because obviously they'll play, might be a little bit rough. Is there things you need to consider?
Not so much from a children's point of view,
okay.
But yeah, no, the back issues are very, very much a consideration. The IVDD, as it's called. So it's basically because their spines are very long, it can put a little compression onto the spine, very, very similar to a kissing spine within horses.
Yeah.
So yes, that does need to be taken into account as far as jumping up and down sofas, stairs, steps, things like that. There are health tests that can be done.
Okay.
And whenever breeding, you should always make sure that both parents are PRA clear.
Yeah. So explain what some of these terms mean.
So the PRA clear is a test that's done, a hereditary test.
Yes.
To see whether it's in the genes, so to speak. So once they've been tested for those, then the chances are that they're not going to get that hereditary.
Yeah.
However, it does not rule it out. So all the questions I always get is, are they PRR cleared? Yes, they are. However,
yes,
you need to have a stair gate at the bottom of your stairs. You cannot let that Dachshund run up and down your stairs freely.
Yeah.
You need to have a ramp or a step to go onto the sofa if they're going to go on the sofa.
Yeah.
If they want to go on the sofa, they're going to go on the sofa. So you need to make sure that you've got something for them to go up and down rather than jumping.
Yeah, it's the same for in and outdoors, I guess, as well.
Yeah. So we've got one small step in our garden, which that's fine. Yeah, because they're not.
And when they're really tiny, I'm guessing you're picking them up.
They can't
anyway. Anyway, yes, they have the strength.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing, obviously, which is really important, is nutrition. So, what's your thoughts and how, when you're bringing up your very young pup? Well, first of all, I'm going to go back a question actually. Why did you decide to breed them? Having chosen one to join your family, you obviously loved it. So did you choose to breed it because you wanted another one yourself and then you'd know how well it had been bred?
No. So going back to my Shih Tzus cross poodles. So I bred Bonnie and had Max. And the reason I bred from her is I did want another Bonnie.
Yeah.
With there being a crossbreed, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So I bred from her. And we kept Max. He was nothing like Bonnie.
Right. Okay.
Nothing like her at all. But he's just lovely. He's great. Bonnie was such a good mum that she was cleaning up after them right until the day they left. We had to separate her to stop her feeding them, and it took it out of her, and it really wiped her out. So we had her spayed because I decided I'm not ever going to put her through that again.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the experience. I really enjoyed the learning, the finding out everything, and just researching. So when we got Rosie, so Rosie was our first. It wasn't our intention to breed from her, but I just thought I'd like to go through and do that experience again.
Yeah.
And had to go back to basics and do all the research because obviously it was a different breed. And with them being a KC breed as well, there is a lot more that's to it rather than a crossbreed, obviously. Yeah. So yes, as I did.
Okay, so as far as nutrition and things, and because you're quite a natural, you want them to be brought up as naturally as possible, don't you? So when did you start considering that, and how did that come about really, and how did you sort of research that?
So we went onto a raw food diet when Rosie was a couple of months old, because of when I started doing all the research into the breed. It kind of naturally fell into each other that the nutrition came in with the breed, with the research of the breed. And then it just came to light that actually what I was feeding wasn't the best for them.
Yeah.
And there was definitely alternatives out there. And yes, it might cost a little bit more. But I wanted to make sure that they were going to have the best nutrition, that their skin was going to be, and their coat was going to be the best condition, and for all the other health.
Yeah, so you get all the obviously you get all the muscle development, all the bones develop properly, so you get all the closure of the plates, etc., which is a consideration, particularly with the long spine.
Yeah.
So they obviously enjoy raw feeding.
They do, yes.
I've not met a very young puppy that doesn't enjoy raw feeding.
And with our pups this time round, so the first time we started on like the traditional mush that you give them, don't you? Like the kibble and soaked and things like that. But this litter, we went straight onto raw.
Okay.
And they're brilliant. Yeah, loved it.
So do you do DIY? Obviously, you study how much protein, etc., they need as a young puppy, but then do you go DIY, or are you a complete raw feeder?
Yeah, no, we complete it. We do.
And then you do the supplements or whatever that they need. So yeah. Okay. So when you then find homes for them, is that a preferred home if you can get it? I know not everyone does, and as long as they're going to look after a puppy well, that's not a problem.
My main consideration obviously is the lifestyle of that particular home. So my first questions are always, have you researched Dachshunds?
Yeah.
Do you know what you're letting yourself in for? And I don't know, it sounds like I'm negative about the breed when I first start talking to someone, because I want them to be fully prepared, because I will always have a puppy back.
Yeah. So
if it doesn't work out,
so you do the good support that good breeders do. That if that for any reason, because people's circumstances change as well, don't they? And some people might take on a puppy with the absolute best intention, and suddenly 6 months down the line, a year down the line, find for whatever reason it is, they're no longer able to look after that puppy. So is that when are you quite happy to take them back, or would you just
it's never happened.
That's wonderful to hear.
But I always would.
That's kind of your contract.
That's in my contract. But I obviously don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Because the negative effect and the trauma effects on that pup can be quite significant.
Yeah.
So I will always make sure that I list the common traits of a Dachshund to any potential purchasers, making sure that someone is at home during the day, and they're not going to be left for long periods of time. Is there young children? Are the children used to dogs? Things like that.
Okay. And going back to the natural side of things, you are a raw feeder. I know you don't vaccinate. Can you give us a bit of background why you choose not to vaccinate?
So I don't vaccinate my dogs, just because there is a lot of research that has gone into side effects and actually sudden effects that happen after a vaccination. So there is a lot of immunity that comes from mum anyway. And there seems to be a lot of different batches of vaccinations that are coming out. You've been it than I would. So it's just a choice that we do. However, we have to go by the purchasers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So what I do make sure is if they are having a vaccination, I make sure that they find out from their vets what their vaccination process is and what brand and what type they use. Because what a lot of people will happen is you would vaccinate a pup, they would go to the new owners, the vet will have a different type of brand
and revaccinate
and start again. So you've got a whole set of chemicals that have gone into that pup that she didn't need to, and then they're going to have another two in the space of 12 weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? And there are different schools of thoughts now on protection for the mum. As you know, I've worked with holistic vets and collaborate with them, and there's still the mum's antibodies do help a puppy up to 16 weeks old, is what they're still advising. However, I am now seeing and hearing information saying, it's only to 8 weeks, but that comes out from America.
Right.
So they have completely, as you know, they have a completely different way of breeding and vaccinating and feeding anyway to the way we do. But it is normally up until 16 weeks that a puppy's well protected. And obviously then you get your choices, don't you? So you can go to traditional vet, you can go to homeopathic vet. And something not everybody knows is you don't have to go for the 3-part vaccination. So a lot of vets are doing all three in one, like we do, you know, the MMR type stuff for children.
Yeah.
And actually you don't need to do that. You can actually ask the vet to look at what's in the area, what's actually the real risks before you vaccinate.
But I don't think there's that knowledge out there, is there?
No.
I think everyone is very much, I can't get a puppy until it's been vaccinated. And also, there is a thing of dog walkers and pet sitters will not have the dogs until they're vaccinated. So you're immediately taking that choice away from that owner if they're going to have to rely on those services.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, that's not for this podcast, but something I'm trying to work with those people, really, because like you say, it's education. People don't realise that's actually the case. And it's can be very frustrating because insurances insist on it. So, you know, as a breeder, that's quite interesting probably for yourself about insurance and how you take that forward. So you've had a litter of how many just recently?
We've had 2 litters in the space of 2 weeks of each other, of 5 and 4.
Oh, okay. I thought they were far apart, so that your 2 litters close together.
Yeah.
How exciting is that? So tell us so what's the fun side? What's the fun side for you? So obviously, you know, you're not doing this to make money.
No.
It's because you love the breed and passionate about the breed and want good breeding behind it. So it's all, you know, good grounding.
Enhancing the breed.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of dachshunds out there that you might look at and think, oh, you're a dachshund. And some people might breed for the sake of breeding without actually researching who are you putting that bitch to, what's the lines, colour is very important in dachshunds as well.
Okay.
So I was recently speaking to someone who went to go view a litter of dapple dachshunds. Mum was dapple, dad was dapple. That is a massive no-no.
Yeah, it's the same other breed dogs.
Yeah. You don't double dapple.
Yeah.
So
I like that expression, double
dapple. So really researching what are the lines, are they good lines, is this going to enhance the breed?
Yeah.
We don't breed for show, even though both our girls are show lines. Their granddad actually won Crufts a few years ago.
Wow.
But our main thing is family pets, so we make sure that they are completely socialized. They are in our lounge, that there's no kennels involved. They're in our lounge. They're exposed to other dogs, obviously just within the house, children, household noise, TVs, vacuum cleaners. They are held from day one. They're having their nails trimmed early on, so they're used to that.
Yeah, so feet touching, ear touching, lifting the gums so you can get to the teeth, all those things that if you don't do early, the dog can get really anxious about and reactive to. So it's all.
We take them for a drive in the car.
Super.
So they can start getting used to the car.
Yeah.
We get them outside as much as we can. We've been a bit tricky this time around.
Yeah.
It's been so cold, and they do get really cold, and I haven't got 9 jumps to put on them. So they've only been out a couple of times. But it's just exposing them to
everything. So
everything
it's a really good
within
start.
A family life, really. Yeah. So I've got a little niece that comes round, so she plays with them, so that they are used to the younger children. Obviously, she knows how to deal with dogs. But.
So the fun side for you then, because obviously it's exhausting. I don't think people realise quite how exhausting breeding dogs can be.
Yeah.
And actually, let's touch on that first, and then let's.
Not the negative.
Well, it's not a negative, is it? But I don't think people realise. They think, you know, they're just little puppies. They look very cute. It's wonderful to watch them grow, and there's always a lovely side. But actually, as a breeder, it's really hard work in the background, especially when you want it to be, you know, the best.
Yeah.
You
well, it starts even before the matings. You've got to make sure that the girls are in tip-top condition, making sure they've got the folic acid before mating takes place. And then obviously when the mating happens, it's keeping an eye on them, making sure they're all okay. And then you've got that 8 weeks, 9 weeks of worry. Is everything okay? We scan them at 3 weeks, check that they are in pup. We will then do a progress scan a few weeks later to check if or how many pups are still there. Dachshunds have the highest absorption rates.
Really?
because they are so little.
And so just for people that watching that wouldn't understand that,
So
explain what an absorption
so in human rate
in a puppy.
So in human terms,
a puppy and a mum.
in human terms, it's a miscarriage.
Yeah.
So you might scan a pup, scan a bitch who's in pup to 4 pup, and you might then do a progress scan. And she's only got 3 because they're so little that there wasn't enough space, so one has naturally.
Yeah.
And the reason we do that is so that when they are whelping, we know exactly how many pups are due.
Yeah.
So on Connie's litter that's just happened, so she started whelping, I think it was like 9 in the morning, and then we had a 4-hour gap, where people were saying, well, maybe that's it. She's just having one, and I confidently say no. She's definitely got another 3 there.
Yeah.
So without that scan, we would have not known.
Yeah.
Obviously that there was some due.
And so how long can it take? Because I mean, this for you as like the owner, you've got the concern of your own dog.
Yeah.
You're probably very tired because you don't know what time it's going to start, and you're going to be keeping an eye, and it can go on for a very long time, can't it, in some dogs?
Yeah. So she started at 9 in the morning. Her last pup was at 7 in the evening. So that was quite nice. It was daytime.
Yeah.
Connie and Rosie started at 2 in the morning, and then finished about 8 in the morning. But she'd been showing signs quite a few hours before that. So there had been a long, probably like 24 hours of monitoring. And then obviously when they're born, you can't leave them.
No.
You need to make sure that you're with them all the time, because there is danger of mum rolling the pups, mum's not feeding, puppy fading, things like that. So that's the first few weeks.
Yeah. So, and you obviously when they come out, you're helping clear nasals and all that
Yeah,
sort of thing.
we were really lucky. They did all of that themselves. They were really good ones. Yeah.
So what we're getting the gist of is it's a lot of planning, a lot of research, a lot of actually caring for them as they get through their pregnancy and afterwards. So babies open their eyes about
10
what
days.
stage? 10 days.
Yeah.
So that probably takes the pressure off you a little bit, I'd imagine, because the eyes are open. Mum's got used to the fact she's got a litter.
Yeah.
But again, you still have somebody always there.
Yeah, we can't go out
case.
and leave them.
Yeah.
We're not in the room with them all the time at that point. But yeah, we have to make sure that we are around. Yeah, when they open their eyes, they're obviously a little bit more sturdy, so you don't have to worry about them too. Although we did have one that we did have to hand feed every few hours because he was feeding, but he just wasn't putting on weight.
And did that change the relationship with you and him?
He's probably one of my favourites because he's so giddy.
Because they can sometimes become.
He was still feeding from mum, so there wasn't any. She didn't distance herself or anything, so she still did all the, and he's still very much part of the.
Because obviously, you know, there are occasions, very very sadly, when mum doesn't survive the pregnancy or just becomes very unwell afterwards, and people do have to hand feed.
Yeah,
and that is sometimes where separation anxiety can set in at because they basically become bonded to you rather than their mum. So
yeah, I think because she was feeding him initially, so it wasn't until after a few weeks that we started doing it that she kept the bond, which was really nice because that was obviously a concern.
So what's the fun side of having all these puppies around you? You know, lots of poo, lots of crying.
The puppy cuddles, obviously. Yeah, it was the other night we sat on the sofa with nine puppies plus the adults, so we had 11 puppies on the Dachshund, 11 Dachshunds on the sofa, which was lovely. And watching them grow and their individual personalities, because each one of them's got a different one.
Yeah,
and it's really lovely. So we had quite a few homes for them before, like literally when they were a couple of days old, where people would say, "Oh, I wonder what their personalities are like." Obviously, can't tell you.
Yeah.
But now, as we found a few homes this last week, we can say what they're like. Yeah, he's very boisterous. He's fun. He's a terror, and they're all really individual.
So I'm sure it's a real time wasting kind of exercise. Not time wasting because it's nice
You
time.
don't get
But
a
you know
lot
what I
done.
mean? You know, you're just like, I'm planning to do this today.
The
Oh,
house
look,
is not
5 hours later,
clean.
that hasn't happened then. My washing still needs to be done. The children still need to go to school or whatever.
And it is such a short period of time that they're with you. You really just need to make the most of that and really set them up for life in the best way possible.
And so again, when you do get owners, you know the personalities by then. So do you help match the right personality with the right owner, I'm guessing?
Well, they generally find their owners.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
So how do they do that?
So they'll be drawn. Obviously, these are the ones that are a bit older. I just find that they're drawn to them. So they'll have a particular puppy that will just come and sit on them, or I don't know, nuzzle in or something.
Yeah,
it seems to be a little bit of a magic. When we went to go and get Rosie, so she was a litter of 4, and they were all identical. And we did want one girl, sorry, and there was 2 girls in the litter, and it was like, how do you decide? They were both identical. And Rosie just went and sat on my son's lap. It's like, well, there we go.
I think dogs do choose. They know. Dogs have this lovely sense of energy. They understand energy, and that's why I do Reiki with them, etc. They're just very adaptive to it, and I think you're right. They do pick up that energy off people, so they know this is the right energy for me. If someone's really, really quiet and they're a very bouncy puppy, they're going to pick up on that energy. If I'm not going to have much fun here,
true.
I need to have a bit of fun. So, all sounds very lovely. I'll just come have a puppy fest, I think. So, I'm just going to touch as well, because obviously you have horses. So do you have more than one pony?
We've got 2.
Got 2 ponies. Okay. So you're looking at all these dogs. You're trying to manage this whole business as well in the background, and then on top of that, you've got ponies to look after.
This is what these dark rings are under my eyes. So we've got 2 ponies. My daughter competes show jumping.
Oh right, okay. So is that something you've done as well in the past?
I've not. No, I'm not brave enough. I like doing the groundwork.
Okay. So just why those ponies in? Something just a little an insight into that side of your life as well.
So I did have ponies when I was growing up, and luckily my daughter decided that she was also interested, and so I had one when she was 2 that she used to come and sit on, and she's just gradually growing with it. It's hard. She's had to work really hard because we can't necessarily get her the ready-made pony that she needs. So we've currently got a 23-year-old show jumper who is just starting to back off now. Yeah. She's enjoying a bit more of the tougher work.
Because people don't realise it's jumping is you're asking an awful lot of the horse.
There's a lot of strain on their joints. Even though we've got her on lots of supplements and things, she's just showing us signs that she's not 100% comfortable. So we have retired her from jumping, and we've just very kindly been loaned a pony for her to go on to the next stage,
which is one I believe I'm coming to meet very soon. So that'll be nice. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a lovely little chat.